So if you haven't seen my last video, go ahead and check it out. I'll go ahead and put a card up here or something so you guys can. But since doing the BMR lowering springs, I had the car aligned, you know, everything's been going good. But I've been getting kind of like a clunking sound out of the front right side of the car, passenger side of the car. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of actually something that I do anytime I work on a car anyway, even though I torque everything down when I go through installing whatever parts it is. Usually after, you know, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I go ahead and recheck everything. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop the hood, put the car up in the air, take the tire off, and then I'm gonna see if there's anything that's causing that clunking sound. Maybe one, I forgot to tighten something, which I really don't think I did because I also mark everything that I tightened. 2, maybe something just kind of came loose. Maybe I need to put some thread locker on it or something like that. So let's go ahead and we'll get the hood up and get the car up in the air, and we'll go ahead and check it out. Get started. Here's the garage. I mean, you guys have seen where I've worked in the past, which was on the side of my old house. But now I got a nice little garage going. Actually, it's a pretty big garage, and then I got a third garage at the house too. But yeah, got a lot of room to work. There should be a project car right here in the near future. Go ahead and stay tuned for that. Also, go Chiefs, that's what I'm talking about. Go Chiefs, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go. All right, so like I said, I've been hearing it from this side of the car. I don't really know what it is. So, I mean, I'm gonna check both sides, but I'm gonna start with this side first. If I identify it on this side, it's more than likely gonna be what the main issue is, because I don't hear it on this left side, or yeah, on the left side of the car at all. I really only hear it on the right side. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by checking the torque on the bolts for the shock tower itself, and then go ahead and check the strut tower, and then go ahead and check that center bolt for the strut, or the center nut for the strut. So I'll go ahead and start on that now. All right, so these are 15mm socket. Got my torque wrench set to 35 foot-pound. That's about what it is. Not really loose at all. All right, so the strut tower bolts were pretty much right at 35. The first 2, I got like the tiniest bit of turn out of it. Nothing really that's gonna cause some sort of noise. So I'm gonna get the car up in the air and then go ahead and take a peek inside, and we'll see what's going on in there. All right, so when I did the springs there, you can see the BMR spring. You don't really have to take much off on the front. I mean, the brake caliper, the rotor, and all that stuff, really you just have, there's 2 spindle bolts right here. Once you get the caliper off, the sway bar end link from the strut itself, and then the, this ABS line right here. But then the strut tower bolts themselves. Aside from that, there's really not much else on this thing. So I'm gonna just check these. Everything looks pretty good, pretty tight so far. I'm gonna double check this guy too. This actually might be it. These were pretty tough for me to really tighten, because you kind of have to hold one side as you tighten the other. And I got lazy, so I'm gonna go ahead and double check this guy. This might actually be the issue. Okay, so I'm gonna try and get video of me doing this for you guys. I don't know how it's gonna work out, but just in case, what I do is, I got the wrench on the back, and then I got my torque wrench right here. I'll just go ahead and hold the wrench in the back with this hand and lean on this torque wrench until it clicks. This says to torque it to 85 foot-pounds. All right, so that's 85 foot-pounds. I didn't touch the lower, so I'm not going to check the lower. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is show you how I check this one right here. And it's kind of tough because if you put a wrench on, or if you put a socket on and start to turn it, the whole shaft will actually spin itself. What I do is probably not the best way. It's worked out for me so far. But what I do is I take a pair of vice grips and a towel. I put the towel around the shaft and then clamp the vice grips down. This way I'm not digging the teeth of the vice grips down into that shaft, and I don't necessarily do it so tight that it kind of goes through the towel. I get it just enough so I can get that shaft not to spin, and I kind of use, I try and feel it out to see and make sure that it doesn't spin, and then I go ahead and torque the actual nut. So let's do that now. All right guys, so like I said, not the most preferred way to do this, but it is safe. I have done it before. I'm gonna check this one. This one goes to 76 foot-pounds. What I'm gonna do is just get the wrench on top. I've already got the nut on, or the socket on, I mean. And then I'm just going to hold. And then, can't tell if that strut is actually spinning. I gotta get my finger in there. And it is, so I gotta tighten this. This thing is entirely loose. So I have a feeling that is the reason why. And just to kind of show you too, I had the vice grips on it right here, and as you can see, there is 0 marks. So completely okay, right? You just don't clamp it down so hard, just enough force with a towel over it, and it will easily keep that from spinning without having to buy any additional tools or anything crazy like that. All right, so just to be on the safe side, I am gonna check the other side. All right guys, so I checked both sides. This side over here, it was loose, incredibly loose, so I'm 99% positive that is the reason for that kind of little knocking, clunking noise that we had going on. The other side was pretty tight, the whole thing was tight. I'm gonna go ahead and take it for a drive really quick. We'll see if that finished the problem. Alright guys, so it is dark outside, so I'm not going to turn the camera around and face me. Not that you'd want to look at my face anyway, so here, check out the gauges. The Palm Beach dyno end gauge is pretty cool, by the way. Not sure if you haven't seen it in the last video, and it fits really nicely in between the gauges. I just wedge it in there. I don't need any like crazy mount or nothing. Granted, they only sell one for what, 20 bucks or so. Anyway, so yeah, that little clunking noise, I should have taken a video of it before so you can actually hear it, but yeah, it's 100% gone. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make my way back around to my house. All right, so we got the problem fixed. One thing I will say, I'm pretty positive that I torqued the entire suspension when I did the springs. However, things happen. Maybe I did miss it. If I did miss something, I'm glad it was that, because it was a relatively easy fix. But that just goes to say, one thing that I want to put out there, and a lot of people actually hit me up on like Instagram and stuff asking me questions like, hey man, I just did this thing to my car and now, you know, this thing is happening. So take this for instance, like, hey, I just did lowering springs in my car. I've been driving around, now it's making a clunking noise. I must have a bad strut, or, you know, something must be wrong. When in reality, first thing you should do, take a deep breath, kind of relax, check out your work that you just did. You might have missed some. Nobody's perfect. I've got a lot of experience working on cars. I was a maritime diesel mechanic a long time ago, which is kind of where my skills started developing. But nobody's perfect. Things happen. Something where maybe I
didn't reset the torque wrench, and I might have torqued it to, you know, that 35 foot-pounds that the other nuts go to. So that could have very well happened too, because that strut tower, or the actual upper strut nut, was incredibly loose. So glad I got that fixed. Also, what I had too was the steering wheel was would kind of vibrate under like, you know, 55, 60 miles an hour. And that's gone away too. So, you know, stupid little either mistake, or it could have loosened up. I don't think it did. But again, like I said, if you're working on your vehicle, you do something different to it, all of a sudden you have a problem, it's not the end of the world. Go back over your work, double, triple check everything, which you should honestly do before you finish, but I mean, it happens. And you know, 9 times out of 10 you usually find out what it is. So anyway, some things that I was gone doing. For those who know what that thing is, I was out there getting that. I went to Jumpmaster school. It was a pretty demanding school. Anyway, that's what I've been up to. Everything else, you know, going pretty well. Hope you guys all have a good one, are doing well. Have a good new year, and I'm hoping to make a lot more content in 2020. So yeah, thanks again, guys. Not to be talking your ear off. Take care, and we'll see you next.